evening, Memphis and the rest of the world. Welcome to another edition of The Truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. I'm Andre Gary.
Hey, you got you,
And for the next hour, let's forget about the black man. Let's forget about the white man. And let's deal with that human from a Bible perspective, if you will. Feel free to call in at 901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. For any comments, suggestions, agreements, or even disagreements we may have. We'd agree to disagree without being disagreeable. Okay, the Truth Radio Show brought to you by the Truth Radio Network. We deal with everything from sex, race, religion, politics, and even sometimes sports from a Bible perspective. And he come marching in. First of all, I want to start the show off with kudos to Franklin Graham. Franklin has been banned from Liverpool, England, because they say that he has LGBTQ hatred. Because he said that the Bible teaches that homosexuality is sin. And he won't back up off that. Kudos to Pastor Graham. Let's listen to him first. So for that, you can call Sheena Armstrong at 901-303-8804. All your insurance needs. That's Sheena Armstrong, 901-303-8804. For your good soul food eating at Soul Food Buffet. Go to Miss Sarah Lee's, 6646 Highway 51 North, right there in Milton. Got the cornbread that tastes like cake. Sarah Lee's Buffet, Soul Food. All right, now here we go. Pastor Graham.
There's no hope for America outside of the Church of Jesus Christ taking a stand. And you've got to take a stand.
Dr. Graham is actually taking a lead as an evangelical pastor to get Christians up off their couches, quit watching their football games on Sunday evening when they ought to be in church, and telling them you need to get out there if we're going to take back our country.
Friends, I want you to go back and be an advocate for God's truth and His righteousness. And let's elect men and women to office who will lead this nation back to really being one nation under God that can truthfully say, once again, in God we trust.
Which is of the utmost importance. And he sees how important it is to be on state ground with other believers, learning how to fellowship with the Lord.
And it reads, Evangelist Franklin Graham has been banned from appearing in the Liverpool, England arena for his upcoming summer tour. Our city is a diverse city.
Confusing quilted northern for robes. They're both cushiony, pretty, and add elegance to your home.
Our city is a diverse city and proud by LGBTQ plus community, and always will be, Liverpool Mayor Joe Anderson tweeted Sunday. We cannot allow hatred and intolerance to go unchallenged by anyone, including by religious groups or sects. It's right we are banned from the eminence arena. Franklin Graham, love conquers hatred always. In response, Graham on Monday penned a letter to the LGBTQ community in the UK and posted it to Facebook. He said he did not intend to bring hateful speech to your community. This is just not true. Graham maintained in the letter his stand that God defines homosexuality as sin, but God goes even further than that to say that we are all sinners, myself included, he wrote. This week's news is not the first time Graham has encountered resistance in the UK. In 2018, a transit company in England yanked ads from the sides of its double-decker buses promoting Graham's planned Crusade of Hope in the seaside resort of Blackpool, Charlotte Observer reserved at the time. Blackpool Transport cited heightened tensions over Graham's remark critical of the LGBTQ community. Here's my question. As a pastor, am I promoting hatred when I preach that homosexuality is sin? Well, I'm going to stand on the gospel of God. And where do we draw the line? Do I now not teach that adultery is sin? Do I now not teach that fornication is sin? What about masturbation or bestiality? What about incest? I mean, do we all of a sudden now, because this is the sexual revolution, and this is what the liberals want to do, that we now have to accept and embrace what our faith, what our Bible says is sin, in order to be civil in this society in which we live? What do you think? 901-452-3094.
You're on 20.
But 901-324-7490 also. Y'all quit allowing these people to play psychological warfare games, don't you? I see people panicking now with the coronavirus. I see them saying that Kobe Bryant is a philosopher. I'll play a video in a minute where he told Tracy McGrady that he wants to die young and be immortal. He wants to be a god. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Because I hear people talk about, I'm channeling my inner Kobe Bryant. Man, that's witchcraft. What's called channeling demon spirits. We'll talk about some more city call through. Hello, caller, welcome to the show. He's not in, but Jesus, heaven speaking. And how so? You can choose your sin, you can't choose the consequences. This is true. Amen. Mm-hmm.
Sexual.
Let me what? Oh, what did you say? He choose what about the homosexual?
Yeah, he choose to say, okay, look at God said homosexuality is wrong. So I'm going to stand up for this. Okay? But he choose not. Listen at the words coming out my mouth.
Okay.
He choose not to stand up for what God say about lying. Matter of fact, he support lying.
I've never heard Franklin Graham say he supports.
Named Donald J. Trump.
What makes you think that because somebody supports Donald Trump,
The man is a liar, sir.
Well, what lie did he tell, sir?
Oh, man, golly, I can't believe that. Then I got me down the right number, Mr. O.G. Hypocrite.
Okay,
The dude is on record as making over 1,000 lies in 3 years.
Well, if he told over 1,000, he told 1,000 over 3 years, go ahead and tell me the lie you're referring to.
Here's one of his lies of many that he has told.
Okay.
Right? That his crowd, inauguration crowd, was larger than any president ever, especially Barack Obama.
Okay.
There are facts, there are pictures that show this is a lie.
So now let me make sure I'm understanding you correctly. You're saying that when he looked at his inauguration crowd, he said his was bigger than Barack Obama. That could have been his perception. Perception is reality to the person that perceives it. But you're saying that because that he saw that, and by your account, that Barack Obama's crowd was bigger than his, therefore he's a liar, therefore you should not listen to him. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this question. Have you ever heard anybody say this here?
Have I ever heard what?
Have you ever heard anybody say this? If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor.
Absolutely.
Who said it? Who said it?
Barack Obama.
Now, how do you feel about how do you feel about Barack Obama?
Love it.
You love him. Oh, so
love it.
So you love Barack, but you hate Donald.
Yeah, but now, here lies the difference between Franklin Graham and the other guy.
Okay.
I'm not going around here speaking that I'm holier than thou. I I have a tag that I use, okay? And you know the tag that I use when I come on this show, when I go through my daily life. So,
What, son of Lucifer?
Sinner man.
Sinner man, okay. Well, now, if I recall correctly, and I'll play it again for you if you want, didn't I just hear Mr. Graham say that when I say that homosexuality is a sin, I'm not saying it without love. He said, I'm a sinner too. Did he just say that?
Okay.
So now, that means that he's just like you.
Well, hold up, man.
Okay.
You see? Because I called to speak to all you hypocrites, and I told you it was Franklin Brown, but you keep coming back to you. Because you say you don't sin.
About who?
It was about Franklin Brown, but you're making it about you. Because you say you don't sin. Even Franklin Brown, as a hypocrite that he is, will set up and tell you that he's a sinner too, man.
He said what you just said that you say.
Okay.
I missed something.
What did you miss?
You said that you introduced yourself as the sinner man.
Sinner man, that's me.
Franklin Graham said when he talks to the homosexuals about sin, that he has to also bring it upon himself too, because he's also a man made in sin. That he battles with sin like everybody else. I battle with sin.
How you battle with sin and you tell set up on this radio and tell us that you don't sin?
I battle with it. I don't give in.
Oh wow! Look at that.
Okay. Well, tell me this here. Have you sinned today?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I'm just acting wrong, man. When you woke up, that was a sin.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Okay?
Well, here go Mother Joan. Here go Mother Joan for you.
Mother Joan love me, man.
Message from D. Moore's Joan's mother. How in the world is other guy going to call Trump a liar when he's a liar himself? He got his nerves so he can't talk.
Hey, you know what? You mad? Yeah, well, Mother Joan mad because I ain't took no over the crystal yet. I'm going to take you, lady.
Mother Joan don't eat no crystal. Mother Joan eat at high-class restaurants. She don't eat no crystal. She eat at high-class restaurants, sir.
Hey, tell that old lady I just got to hustle up a couple of more bags of can. I'm going to take it. And until I knew, absolutely I'm a liar.
But you know what the other guy, I've been looking at black folks and stuff. You know, pretty much this impeachment thing gonna probably be over with tomorrow, right? And I've been looking.
I mean, you on the same page.
Okay, and I messed around and went to a little gathering of some Democrats, the elected official Democrats, and I heard them talking about how do they feel about the black folks that keep voting for them. They ain't doing nothing for them, but they keep voting for them. All they do is tell them they give them impeachment. You know what they were saying?
What did they say?
I said, what do you think about the black folk that thought that when they impeached Donald Trump, he wasn't going to be president no more? What do you think about that? I said, what do you think about the black folk that Donald Trump is doing everything he can to get historical black colleges and universities, the lowest unemployment ever in the history of the blacks in the United States, the first step program to get the black men and women out of prison, second step program to give them a job. And you got black folk rejected. What do y'all think about them black folk? You know what they said? Big dummy. I wonder why they calling them that.
Stop the guy. So what you just did, basically what you're saying is that we liberals are we big dumb.
No, not actually. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Now, this is one time where race has to be used.
So race has to be used?
Race has to be used in this in order for me to give you this analogy.
Okay.
The white liberal is quite shrewd and cunning in that he takes his liberal policies and he uses those to get 90% of the black vote to vote for them, no matter whatsoever, to put them into political office, so that even though they're making $50,000 a year in 3 years' time, they're multi-millionaires, and they go and live in gated communities with big walls and all that, and in the final suburbs, and their children in private schools. But now the black liberal, all he does is he goes out there and he votes everything that said D. He doesn't care what policy.
Yeah, hey, that's that. Let me tell you something. Right? You want to know why Franklin Graham and myself call ourselves sinners?
No, what?
Okay, I ask you a question before I answer.
Okay.
Do you pray?
Do I pray?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you pray at the end of the night?
I pray at the end of the night?
Yeah.
I pray continuously.
Continue. It's a continuous thing.
Yeah.
Now, all right, I'm going to use what you just said, and I'm going to apply it to me.
Okay.
You know why I pray all the time?
Why?
Because I know I'm not right.
Okay.
Do you know what I pray for? Forgiveness.
Yeah, see, mine is different. You know why I pray?
Yeah, I want to hear yours.
Okay, you know why I pray all the time?
Why do you pray all the time?
Because I want to stay right.
You want to stay right?
Yeah, I got right.
I'm
I want to stay
trying to
right.
get right, but you stay right.
Right, because I want to stay right. I guess I got right when I got born again.
Listen,
Now all I got to do is stay on course, like he says, follow the instructions of the Word of God, and I stay right.
Listen at this thing. Hey, Pastor Guy, Pastor Guy, you been real nice today, man.
I enjoyed your conversation.
I got to get out of here, but can I say something to my lover?
Who is your lover?
One, I mean.
Ms. Masters.
Oh, Mother Jones, man, what are you doing, man?
You know Ms.
You
Masters.
trying to let me, Mother Jones, up?
Mother Jones just left your message anyway. Here it is.
Message from D. Dolores Jones' mother. Tell other guy that as the old saying goes, when you point one finger at someone else, there are 3 points back at him.
She wants me. But I didn't hear what you said.
She said when you point one finger at others, you got 3 pointing back at you.
I'm going to start to fling that up. Have a good one, man. 901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. Back to this COVID thing. You got people talking about I'm going to channel my inner Kobe. And, Kobe is a philosopher. You know, he got a lot of his studies from Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson practiced Zen worship. Kobe told Tracy McGrady that he wants to die young so that he could be immortalized. When you start talking about immortality, you're starting to say that you want to be a god. So he wants to die young so he can be a god. Well, dribbling the basketball doesn't make me see you as a philosopher. Here's Tracy McGrady.
This sounds crazy, but Kobe spoke this. He spoke this. He used to say all the time, I want to die young. And
Really?
I thought he was he used to say, I want to die young. I want to be immortalized. And, I want to have my career be better than Michael Jordan, and I want to die young. And I just thought he was just so crazy for saying that. And when I got the news yesterday, I had a dance with my daughter yesterday at my wife's event, and they came and told me the news, and I just couldn't believe it, just like everybody else. But I'm devastated.
I can't even imagine in those pictures into young teenage Kobe that, as you said, you have, because he felt you were his contemporary, and it was someone he could let in a way that he really couldn't let anyone else in those years. And yes, hearing you say, I want to die young, I want to be a legend, that's totally in line with young Kobe. But older Kobe, the Kobe that you and I spent the last year watching, the 41-year-old Kobe, he wanted to be around, especially for his family. Can you tell me a little bit about just the way you guys reconnected recently? And I mentioned earlier in the show, these AAU tournaments, it's not only texting and calling and the joking around, but then you would be at these tournaments together and you'd be the dad's club, right?
Yeah, and clearly that statement was way before kids.
Yes.
And I'm sure, once he had kids, he didn't have that mindset.
I'm really sure. Because, see, I find it strange. Quite strange indeed that on a cartoon show, they had Kobe Bryant dying in a helicopter crash. Then a man that tweeted in 2012, his exact tweet is, Kobe Bryant will die in a helicopter crash. Now, first of all, do you know how rare, how uncommon it is for people to even be hurt in a helicopter crash, let alone die in one? Well, Kobe on Comedy Central, he removed a 2016 episode of the animated sitcoms Legends of Chamberlain Heights. It depicted NBA legend Kobe Bryant dying in a helicopter crash After he and his daughter suffered a similar fate Sunday, they pulled the cartoon. The cartoon, which aired on the 2 seasons, depicts Brian trying to crawl out of a downed helicopter before it explodes. The 2016 episode titled End of Days made the rounds on social media after Brian and his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna Brian, died in a helicopter crash along with 8 others Sunday in Calabasas, California. The episode is no longer available on Comedy Central's website or the network's Facebook page. Y'all find that odd? Now what happened? I don't know. You know, it's a terrible thing. I feel so sorry for his wife and his kid. But this is strange stuff. Send them to you. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Pastor Guy, how you doing?
Man, I'm good, sir. How are you?
All right. I was listening to other guys, and like every time I ask somebody why they hate Donald Trump,
Mm-hmm.
they always say they hate him because he's a liar.
Liar, or well, you don't get racist. He's a racist, white supremacist.
Well, I hear racist sometimes, but most of the time they just say he's a big liar.
Mm.
But, I mean, for all the politicians that we've had, did you know one that didn't lie?
I cannot think of not one. Read my lips. No new taxes. If you like your doctor, keep your doctor. I mean, they're politicians.
Well, the guy prides himself for being a senator, but yet he hates Donald Trump because he's a liar.
Ain't that something?
It makes no sense at all. Everybody hates America, so all these people are honest, and Trump is the only liar out there.
Well, now, I'm going to tell you what gets me. I listened to that Democrat debate. Elizabeth Warren, she's even telling you the dollar amount that she wants to get for the reparations for the homosexuals. They're telling you what they're going to do for the illegal immigrants. They're telling you what they're going to do for the climate change. They're telling you what they're going to do for the homosexuals. They're telling you what they're going to do for the women that want to kill the babies with abortion. They tell you all the things they want to do. They don't name not one thing. The biggest dependable voting bloc that liberal Democrats have is the black populace. Over 90% of blacks have been voting Democrats since the Civil Rights Bill was signed. And at all, they don't offer them not one thing whatsoever. When I bring that to their attention and ask them, these people don't offer you anything, I can name what this man is doing for you. Man, do you know that doesn't register whatsoever? When they get through, we got to get Donald Trump out of office. We got to impeach Donald Trump. And now even they didn't impeach Donald Trump. He's not going to be removed. And now this didn't happen. In their minds, they think that, well, at least they did what they told us. They impeached him. It's crazy.
You know, Pastor Guy, I really believe, I'm talking about blacks right now, I don't think they really
Hold up.
hate Donald Trump. They just have an Obama withdrawal.
That's what it is. He's a god. Obama and Martin Luther King, that's all you got. Other guy just sent you a text. Hold on, here it is.
Message from other guy. The racist liar.
He's a racist liar.
Yeah, okay, a racist liar. All right. Okay, Pastor Guy, I'm going to let you go. You have a good day.
Now stay blessed.
All right.
And he's right. When it comes to Obama or Martin Luther King, he's a god. If you're the black Muslim, you throw Elijah Muhammad in there as well. They gods. Because black folks still looking for their next leader. Why? Because, you know, we got to overcome. What? Slavery. Huh? Jim Crow. What? KKK. Where? In America. This racist country. They're being oppressed by the rich white man.
No. By themselves when they look in the mirror, I guess.
You know, they don't have no opportunity because of white privilege. Huh? Yeah. You got people that are breaking into the country illegally because of the opportunities that are here. And the people that are here legally tell you about what a bad place it is to be.
Hold up. Let me get this straight.
Mm-hmm.
What do white privilege got to do anything? If that was the case, you wouldn't be able to move in with the place you at, right?
Nah, that's a pretty nice neighborhood I live in, I tell you.
And the neighborhood I live in, you been down there.
Man, you do the speed limit 25 miles an hour. The ducks walk around like human beings in your neighborhood.
You think? I think I'm.
You know what?
I ain't the right color to
I saw some white folks stay in your neighborhood, Q.
Mm-hmm.
I saw some white folks in mine.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, my wife showed me when I first moved over there, I thought the majority of the people in my neighborhood was black. I didn't know that on the back side of that subdivision we live in, that those are older houses that's been there, it's very few people of color back there. It's like 90-some% white. I said, wow. I'm able to live in a neighborhood that white folks live in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to drive a car that white folks drive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hit you with one good now.
Okay, hold on.
I'm even able to go to the same grocery store they go to. And I ain't got to go in the back door. Wow.
So when they come down the aisle, you got to get on another aisle?
No, sir. I can even look them in the eyes and talk to them. And you know what happens when I look them in the eye and talk to them?
They talk back?
Man, they talk back, man. They talk, and guess what?
What?
I talked to some of them so long to where we became what's called friends.
Shut your mouth.
Man, they come visit me at my house.
What?
I go visit them at theirs. We've even went on some overnight trips together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In this America. And you know me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, maybe y'all might not know, but over 2 decades ago, I was a drug addict and a criminal. And
You got a Jerry curl?
I had a Jerry curl and gold teeth too.
Mm.
If I did. And you know, I was not a person that was really somebody you want to be around. Even my mother and my relatives didn't want to be around me. I was a powerful human being, just tell you what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I met this guy named Jesus, and he told me, Andre, you come to me just as you are. Pick up your cross and follow me. And do you know that now, in this America,
Mm-hmm.
I have to convince people that I've ever been on drugs or that I've ever been a criminal because they can't see that in the man who I am now. I don't know many other places in the world you get these kind of opportunities, man.
I guess that's why everybody's trying to get over here, but they can have that opportunity to have that. What they call it?
Giddy's easy device is different. It's a wonderful device in the pursuit of happiness. That's what we're looking for. Yes, now beside of happiness.
I got to pause this right
Police in Prince George's.
See, we too busy caught up on white and black. I give you a good example.
Okay.
Did you hear about a police officer shot and killed a man who had handcuffs on?
No.
You didn't?
Mm.
Wait a minute. A news article that big, you didn't hear about the police? Hey, man, hold up. I gotta pay them some other guy.
Message from other guy. This liberal is satisfied with him being impeached for all time.
That's enough for him that they can say he been impeached for all time. Let me see what he got another here.
Message from other guy. But ask God to reveal to you the name that they'll call you when they get home. Huh?
He's over there. Ask God to reveal the name that they call me when they get home. I think it's Andre. We gotta call him.
You showed me.
Long to them too. Then I'm gonna tell y'all why they not report the police story. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yes, gentlemen, how y'all doing today?
Hello, King of Pop and Fraser. How are you?
It's the King of Pop and Fraser.
How are you,
Let me
sir?
get straight to the point.
Yes, sir.
The Bible clearly says, so shall a man think and so shall he eat.
That's right.
Referring to Kobe Bryant. Another young man said about an hour ago that Nike and some more people are pulling all of Kobe's things off the shelf because of price gouging. They're afraid of people buying stuff and charging 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
My question to you is it true that Eve caused Adam to sin and that they were rather running around the garden and Eve looking for fig leaves and everything because they were afraid of God, hiding from God?
Well, Eve did not call Adam to sin. Adam called Adam to sin. Hello, is he gone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. Eve was the one who ate the fruit first, but Adam could have cut all that off by simply obeying the instructions of God. God didn't give the instruction to Eve. He gave it to Adam. He made man the head. And we're living in that time now where God didn't make the woman the head. He made the man the head. But just like with Eve, with Adam, you got it now where they're letting the skirts run the house and the pants are sitting behind.
Got it, mouth.
The reason they're not telling you about that story that officers shooting that man in handcuffs, Q, I'm going to play it for you now.
Say one of their officers responded to 911 calls last night that reported a driver hit several cars in suburban Washington, D.C. The apparent driver was arrested, as this cell phone video shows. Police say he was handcuffed and put into the front seat of a police car with a seatbelt fastened. Both the officer and the suspect were African American. What happened next is now under investigation. Police say the two got into some kind of struggle inside the car, and the man, still wearing handcuffs, was shot several times. He died at the hospital. Relatives identify the man as William Green. His fiancée wants to know how he could have been a threat.
When your hands is behind your back in cuffs and you strap down, you move, handcuffs get tighter and tighter.
Late Tuesday, prosecutors filed a slate of charges against the officer.
I have directed our Special Investigations Response Team to charge Corporal Michael Owen with second-degree murder, manslaughter, and associated weapons charges.
Green's fiancée still wants answers.
I'm hurt. I loved him. He was loved. He didn't deserve that.
Pete Williams, NBC News, Washington.
NBC News fans.
So now, did you catch why they reported?
Yes, but I got a couple questions. I've been in the back of police cars, but I never had one put me in the front seat.
I noticed that too, put them in the front seat, but first about the reading they didn't report y'all because it's too.
Yeah, I seen that.
That don't friendly.
Never see that happen.
901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. Don't y'all believe the hype. I'm trying to tell you. Let me go ahead and throw this on the table too.
Okay.
Don't y'all.
Officials say the corona.
Find no face mask.
Hey, stop that right now.
Oh, okay.
Stop that right now.
What?
You know, people out there need their face masks. They need them gloves on.
For coronavirus. You know, you said yesterday, you said these folks gonna make these folks panic until where they gonna mess around and draw arms on people. And show and behold, over there in China, they got folks that drew their weapons out to stop folks. If you try to come up out of this town, we gonna kill you. Y'all, there's a thing called psychological warfare. These people with this news and radio and this Facebook and this Twitter, and they are messing around and they gaslight you. Gaslighting starts out with something false and they just push it long enough to where it starts off with just a little spark and then turns into a wildfire.
Can I say something though?
Go for it.
You know, people don't get it twisted. You watch movies that have epidemics. They can show people that's laid out, thousands of people laid out.
Mm-hmm.
They could do that, have a fake news, and then portray it like it's real news. Don't let cause Facebook. Don't trust all the stuff you see.
It makes them panic. Let's take a listen to this story out of CBS News.
Has risen to at least 170 people. Here in the U.S., 195 Americans that evacuated from China remain under observation. So Laura Podesta is joining me now with more on that. So they flew from Wuhan to Alaska, now they're in California. What are authorities looking for? Why are they observing them?
They're really looking for flu-like symptoms. So they're going to be doing blood work. They're going to be making sure that the person doesn't have a fever. And although the CDC says all of the monitoring is voluntary, they're also warning that if someone leaves with symptoms of the coronavirus, they may be placed in mandatory quarantine.
Immediately greeted by people in hazmat suits, the 195 Americans traveling back to the U.S. from Wuhan, China, were taken from the plane to quarantine yesterday. They'll undergo 3 days of voluntary testing, including temperature checks, nasal swabs, and blood tests at a Southern California military base to make sure they do not show signs of the coronavirus. If someone chooses to leave early, the CDC could stop them.
If we think that a person is a danger to the community, we can...
Symptoms of the coronavirus are similar to the flu.
So the thing that distinguishes how we think about it right now is the exposure risk based on travel history.
Worldwide, there's been a scramble to purchase face masks. Some pharmacists say they may not be worth it.
But if someone was just next to you breathing and they actually had the flu or had the coronavirus or had another kind of virus, then those are really small particles, and this would not protect that because they would get into the side.
Health experts have expressed concern that as healthy people start hoarding masks, hospitals that need them may have trouble restocking.
So the White House has put together a task force to monitor this virus. What's that about?
Absolutely correct. So the task force has been meeting daily since Monday, and they're going to be the government entity to really monitor and then contain this virus if it continues to spread, especially here in the U.S. Mm-hmm. They also decided, or they were given the authorization to have U.S. officials go to China and begin studying the coronavirus. So hopefully that there can be a vaccine developed to protect against it.
That's pretty good news. So what do experts say is the best way to protect yourself?
Well, experts and our moms and dads, they all agree. My mom was reminding me just yesterday, you gotta wash your hands and make sure you avoid touching your face. Don't touch your eyes, your nose, your mouth, because that's how we can spread germs and spread ultimately flus and viruses like the coronavirus.
It's basic.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, really. Mama knows what's best.
She does.
Thank you very much, Laura.
Thanks.
901-452-3094. 901-324-7490. Speak to.
It's your bubble.
No. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you? So,
hey, how are you?
All right. I was listening to the radio, what you were playing there regarding the coronavirus. So you can wash your hands and bathe and soak and toe. I saw you would, but if there's a person that's cooking your food at some restaurant somewhere that has it, what good is that going to do? I'm just curious. I mean,
They won't. Or I thought about something. What about mosquitoes? You can't hold mosquitoes inside the city.
Mosquitoes, and if I'm not mistaken, it's airborne, and it's kind of like roaches. If you see, once they get a loose, that's it, you know? So somebody here from the United States, I heard there was somebody in Chicago or somewhere.
Illinois.
You know, so I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do about that. You know, I don't know. But anyway, regarding what's the guy's name that died in the helicopter? Kobe
Bryant.
Kobe. So I heard on the Thaddeus Matthews show that there was a doctor on there saying that there was the fellow was tampered with.
No, you said that was a bounty on his head.
Her propeller was messed. Somebody messed. Possibly, this is what a doctor was saying. A doctor.
Okay.
I forgot the doctor's name. They're saying that his propeller was tampered with. It was like set up.
Oh, okay. I don't know, sister. You know, like I said, you know, when people first started saying the conspiracy theory, I said, well, no, just sound like an accident to me. But then when I started seeing they had a cartoon from years ago, it said he died in a helicopter crash, and there's a tweet from 2012 that says he's going to die in a helicopter crash. And then I found out that he's been telling folks that he wants to die young, so he'll be immortal. I said, oh, man, this thing getting kind of creepy.
Yeah, all of that was said the other night on Thaddeus Matthews' show. You know, Thaddeus Matthews ahead of all of us and some stuff. I don't know how he gets it, but...
Yeah, he's an investigator. Now, that is something serious. Now, this is true.
He should have been detected, actually. But, so, yeah, that's what they were saying. And there was a doctor. He had him on the speaker, on some show he had him on or something.
Right.
And the doctor was saying that it wasn't an accident. It was all planned or something.
And you know, there are people that are saying that part of the Illuminati ritual and people that have scanned their soul, you know, this is the price they pay. You know, when it comes to stuff like that, I don't know. I don't automatically jump on it, but I don't automatically dismiss it either.
Yeah, you keep an open mind about
There you go.
Yeah.
So,
that's what you said.
Sounds good. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
I don't care what the devil says you is, that is nothing you know, God, blame you.
Hey, Mountain Man, how you doing? Sound like you got a cold. You got a cold?
I know sometimes I have time, get some mold, want to stop it.
Oh, okay.
But I just put a little spray in and keep on beating it.
I was going to say, it's not the coronavirus, is it? I wonder if you get the coronavirus if you drink a Corona. If you drink Corona beer, do you stand a chance of getting it?
Oh, man. Look, I'll tell you, I was looking at, I was pulling up to see how somewhere in China where people, they falling out and dying, But look here, Satan is on rampage.
Yes.
He's sticking here any way he can, man. Satan is out there. He is here.
So, you know, we got, you know, there's a man called Jesus who's about to hold to his hand, you know. Oh man, you know, 'cause this thing is real, you know. Jesus is real, no Satan, he out there too, you know. So let's try to hold on to Jesus.
That's right. 'Cause at the end of the day, man, you can't duck some of the stuff that the world is offering. The only hedge of protection that you got that you can really trust in is Jesus.
There's only one. There's only one bridge.
Ain't what you said.
Christ of Nazareth.
Amen, my friend.
And you know, I just thank him every day. You know, this year from April 17th, I'll be 7-0. I'm thanking him for, you know, I'm saying, you know, coming up 17th of April, Lord, spend my.
The 17th of April, you be 70 years old?
I'll be 70 and thanking for.
Oh man, I want to hear about that part. I want to be there. I want to be there.
Yes, sir. But I tell you, just keep up the good work. You know, keep on spreading the good news. And, and let's lift up the name. You know, lift up the name of Jesus. When I lift it up, I draw all men unto me. So all of y'all just keep on lifting up. And you stay on the ball, Pastor Andre. You keep on doing what you're doing because you're on the right track.
Amen. Thank you, my friend. God bless you.
Bless you.
You got another one? Some two. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Pastor.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing unbelievable.
Oh, this Corey?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. I'm going to play your text. Hold on. Let me play it before you talk. Hold on.
Message from mailman. Pastor God, I have my mop gear ready, and my M17A1 mask in case we have an outbreak here in the city.
I know you ready. You got some beans, some bullets, some Band-Aids, some bottled water, some baby wipes. There's one missing.
You say batteries?
And batteries. There it is, and batteries. Hey, Corey, talk to me. What do you think about the coronavirus, man?
You don't believe me. I got my mop gear, and I told my wife last night, let's go get bottled water. I got MRE. I gonna have to get some duct tape because we have duct tape plastic over the window where anywhere it can be, any kind of air can get in there. We're gonna have to airtight the house.
And what you gonna do? How long you gonna stay in the house?
Until we get the all clear, Pastor.
What if it take 2 months?
I'm gonna be there. And Pastor God, remember how they tell us in mop gear training, they say you take the least mission essential person to take the gas mask off first. So I don't know how I'm gonna be making
Golly. Well, look, Corey, okay, let me ask you this, and just think about it. What if it did happen to where there was some incident where, say, 90% of the world died off, but 10% of the world left? Would you want to be part of that 10%?
I don't know, because the 10% gonna be pretty much endear or gonna be in debt to the ones that control the world,
Well, it wouldn't be too much control if you eliminate 90% of the world's population, and a lot of this has to do with population control. You got
that 1% that you gonna have to bow down to. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they think they smart. They think that they're gonna take their money and go and fly out of space into the International Space Station and just hang out in outer space, all contamination, all that stuff, leave the Earth, then they're gonna come back and start a new world. That's what's on their mind.
Oh yeah, I know. In fact, like Q and I was talking, every year we done went from the Ebola to the Zika.
Exactly, SARS and anthrax, and then every year you take the flu shot, it just so happens a new strain of flu pops up that shot you took it doesn't cover, so you
things to kill us versus trying to find things to save us. But like you said, it boils down to population control. And plus, I'm talking to the guy, but these people think I'm crazy because. Okay, I sympathize that Kobe Bryant got killed, but they are actually crying here in Memphis. They never met the man.
I mean, they have literally allowed grieving to cover all the families of the United States. They making this man a god.
They say you're crazy. I'm not a sports fanatic. I'm a sports fan, but I'm not a fanatic.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then, like you said, you talking about that script with the helicopter and all that. You remember Prince said if the elevator...
I'm not going to let the elevator break us down. Wait, but then he dies in the elevator.
In the elevator, man.
It's some morbid stuff be going on, some morbid stuff.
And then I was just talking to a guy. You remember when Anthony Anderson hosted some award show a couple years ago when he was in there with the white leather with his butt cheek hanging out?
When the what came out?
Anthony Anderson. He hosted one of them GMA BET award show something a few years ago. He wore this leather suit with the butt cheek hanging out. It was cut out.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, you can look it up.
Anthony Anderson did that?
Anthony Anderson did that. They have to do a man, a woman. You know what I mean? I don't believe in that. I kind of believe in the Illuminati. I have mixed feelings. But sometimes some of them things make you say, you know, Kanye West mom.
Right. But you got the girl, what the girl, Aaliyah, I think that's her name, the singer that got killed, yeah.
And then the recent one, you know, Kanye West, his mom, you know, it's all about a sex. And then don't you know Whitney,
Bobby Christina, I'm just going to say the words.
Yeah, and you know her boyfriend just found drug overdose. He got overdosed.
Lord, I'm Keith Gordon, what was his name?
Whatever.
Something, Nick Gordon.
Nick Gordon. That's strange. John Rivers.
Oh, I forgot about this guy. Yeah, hold up. Shaft just sent me one. Check this out.
Message from Shaft. A dude say he was bleeding so bad over Kobe, he got high and swerved into traffic and killed 2 people in Westwood.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, the guy, he spoke to Jordan and stuff because he was grieving over Kobe and went into oncoming traffic. He killed 2 people, man, about Kobe Bryant, who he's never met.
Yeah. And I think that's the one that went in the courtroom and lit up the joint in front of the judge.
He did what in front of the judge? I don't know.
They've been showing about the smoke the joint in front of the
No, that was not him. That was the white guy. He was like King Fed. Yeah, I saw that dude when he fired up.
Yeah.
He didn't get too many puff. They took that puff from him.
I know. But then you got to look at like Joan River went in for routine surgery. She said, abortive conception. They was like, he said, we already have a tranny president.
Now they asked her, do you think that we'll ever have a homosexual president? And her response was, we already have one.
Yeah, exactly. And did she come out there in a little routine?
No. That was the end of her.
That was the end of her. Sometimes, yeah, we got to, you know, some things you got to.
Sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. I don't just jump on conspiracy theory because it's out there, but at the same token, I don't just jump up and dismiss it either.
And for all your listeners, I'm going to conclude on that. They don't think when I say MOP, it's not a MOP, it's just fluid. The MOP stands for, the acronym stands for Mission Orientated Protective Posture. Copy that.
Hard copy.
You read me loud and clear. You read me loud.
Amen. Be good, my friend.
All right, Pastor. I'm thinking back to in Georgia for some of that come-on training now.
Tenfold, Sergeant. Tenfold, Sergeant.
All right, Pastor.
901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. I'll take you back to Fort Gordon and Port Jackson, Corps, and see if you know the Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf, Hotel, Indigo, and take you up and down that alphabet. Some military stuff, y'all. Yeah, there's so much going on, man. There's so much going on. And then we got to do something with the impeachment because these folks down here, they just... Got 5 minutes? Let me play a few minutes of this. Trump said game over.
Both sides on the impeachment trial taking questions from senators yesterday as President Trump weighs in on some newly resurfaced videos throwing the credibility of both John Bolton and Adam Schiff into question. In an interview last August, Bolton makes no claim of a quid pro quo when speaking about President Trump's July phone call with the Ukrainian president.
The president called to congratulate President Zelensky on his election and then on his success in the parliamentary election. They were very warm and cordial calls because the success of Ukraine, maintaining its freedom, its system of representative government, a free market economy free of corruption, and dealing with the problems of the Donbass and the Crimea are high priorities here, obviously, but high priorities for the United States as well.
Joining us now is Senator David Perdue. Senator, good morning. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Senator.
So how did the resurfacing of that video change things?
It really doesn't, and neither did it last weekend when it came up. Senator, this is a flawed process. The articles that were sent to us from the House are nothing more than poison or fruit from a poison tree. The process in the House was illegitimate. It was inappropriate. They denied due process. And frankly, right now, the Democrats have come over to the Senate. They've harassed us, calling us co-conspirators in a cover-up. They call the defense team liars. And what they want us to do now is what they should have done during their investigation. They should have called these witnesses and back when they had the responsibility.
But Senator, looking back, heading into this process, I did see that you were open to witnesses if there was the need to hear from additional witnesses. So what have you seen play out in that impeachment trial that has led you to believe that no witnesses are needed?
Well, let's clarify that. What I said was any witnesses that are already in the record, there's 17 witnesses that the House called, they haven't even requested any of those witnesses. And so my view is if we wanted to clarify something from an existing witness, that's fine. There's no they've already done depositions and so forth. What I'm saying is we can't go outside the scope of what we've been given. Our charge in the Senate is to rule on the articles that have been brought to us. These two articles, as we've heard over and over this week after 8 scintillating days here, is that the articles are not impeachable. And more than that, the House managers have not proven their case.
So when it comes to the votes that are needed to block calling additional witnesses in this trial, do you believe that Republicans have that?
Well, I'm optimistic. I mean, it's the right thing to do. It's a bad precedent because what happens if we fall into that Pandora's box? This is about the Senate majority and getting the White House.
Forward, but they got Adam Schiff.
Equal and important, but an extremely relevant witness in this trial.
And then, it comes up to show Adam Schiff where he did some shifty stuff along this same. Oh, I know what it was. He tried to block everything that Bolton said because he said Bolton was the biggest criminal on the planet that should not get approved for the office. That's what it was. Y'all, don't end up being like Red Fox said. When the folks sit around and you just voting for these Democrats any kind of way, they getting behind the doors. You know what they saying about them, Q? I want to know what they saying about them. What they saying? They getting behind closed doors, y'all. I'm telling y'all what they saying about you now. When I ask them, what do y'all think about black folks just voting for Democrats no matter what they say? They sit around here and they say they liberal no matter what. What they say, Q? They call themselves a Christian and then they vote for these folks passing these ungodly laws. What they say about them, you? You big dummy. Then you listen to these folks on radio and TV try to gas you up to be messed up because they messed up, and then you listen to them go repeat what they say. What do they say about them, you? You big dummy. Don't be a big dummy. God bless. I love you. We'll be back tomorrow. Even though tomorrow is a promise, it's wise to be prepared.